We're going to bring in Shawn Henry. He's an NBC News national security analyst and former executive assistant director to the FBI. How you doing, Shawn?
Shawn, good morning. Let's drill down on what Pete was just talking about. I mean, if you're the investigators right now, I mean, you're literally in a race against the clock because you don't know if there are other packages out there. What are they looking at to try to see if they can find this person?
Well, there's an abundance of evidence here. You've got eight or more packages that have been delivered. You've got the physical packages, and as Pete said, DNA, potentially fingerprints, hairs and fibers that might be connected to the evidence, as well as markings on the envelopes themselves. Then you've got the actual devices, which investigators will look for signatures, specific signatures there, as it relates to the detonation and how the bomb was constructed, and they'll look through their database to see if they've seen this before. All of those are lots of clues that will help them get down to who this individual or individuals may be. More importantly, I think, when you think about where they were put into the mail system, if they've been delivered by couriers, the videos. Remember back to the Boston Marathon bombing. We saw what appeared to be a movie of Tsarnaev moving through the crowd, placing the bomb, purchasing components. That wasn't a video. That was many videos that were collected from storefronts, from passersby, from other locations. And investigators are going to use that as a key source of evidence to identify who these people are.
When you think about, too, there were a lot of mistakes that were made. It seemed like there were addresses that were incorrect, there were misspellings and stuff like that. Does all that figure into the investigation?
It certainly will as investigators start to hone in on this. There's been a lot of speculation about who this could be. I think what investigators are doing right now is focusing on the evidence. That's what they're trained to do. Once they start to get down to who the suspect or suspects may be, they'll use some of the evidence collected off of those envelopes, the misspellings, etc., as part of the larger case to actually identify those specific people.
Can you explain one thing that the NYPD commissioner said, that this was a live explosive device with regards to the ones found here, but then they didn't detonate. So, I mean, is it a real bomb? I think that's what people are wondering. Is this a real explosive?
Yeah, it certainly is, because it has the components of a bomb. There's a detonator, there's explosive, it's contained within that capsule, the pipe, in this case PVC. So all the components were there. It didn't fire for a variety of reasons. They're not going to say that because they don't want the bomb makers to go back and make adjustments if in fact they wanted to use this as a live device. But all the components were there to harm somebody had that exploded.
All right, Shawn, thank you so much. We appreciate it.